Hello, and welcome to the Takarazuka Review Fan Podcast. In this English language podcast, a group of fans from around the globe discuss both the review and its unique fandom. This includes news, reviews, and discussion of performances and review members, and much more. We ask for your understanding because we are learning as we go, and these first few episodes will probably sound pretty rough compared to the professional fan podcasts you can find these days. But we would love to hear your thoughts on this podcast and suggestions for any future podcasts. You can find us at kaithian.net/Takarazuka podcast. That's kaithion.net/Takarazuka podcast. We'll include links there to items and things which we talk about in our episodes. For this first episode, we will be keeping it short and sweet. Some introductions, some things in the world of the Takarazuka Review which have made us happy lately, and a short discussion on what we think draws foreign fans to the Takarazuka Review. So please enjoy. Hi everyone. Let's go around and start with introductions. Lisa, do you want to start?
I knew this was going to happen. Fine. So, hi everyone. My name is Lisa and I'm a Takarazuka fan from Germany. Sadly, other than some people here, I have not yet lived in Japan to experience the fan culture there, but I at least managed to go to the theater already.
Oh, you've been to the theater even though you didn't live there yet?
No, I went to Japan, but I did not live there for, for several years like you did.
Well, going to the theater is the really fun part anyway.
Yes.
What did you see?
I saw King Oedipus more times than I care to admit. I saw Hoshiai Hitoyo and I saw A Song for Kingdoms, and I cried more than I would like to admit during that. And if that is okay, I would just pass the next introduction on to Carol because she was there with me and she had to watch me cry.
Okay, I guess I'm next. Hi everyone, I'm Caroline from the Netherlands. Lisa and I fell in love with Takarazuka pretty much at the same time and have been dragging each other down ever since. I have not lived in Japan yet, but I've been a couple of times. The first show I saw live was Maeda Keiji last year, and this year I went to see Hoshiai Hitoyo, Song for Kingdoms, and King Oedipus as well. And next year I'm going for 1 year to study at Tokyo, so hopefully I have more time to watch a lot more shows. Okay, next.
Okay, how about Leila?
Hi, I'm Lela. I'm overly excited. I'm a major fangirl, and started fangirling about Takarazuka in the spring, so I'm pretty recent. My biggest regret is that I did not know about Takarazuka when I lived in Japan, and I intend to rectify that, but, so I'm going to be studying abroad in Japan as well next year. So,
Yay!
All the Zuka, all the time. Oh my god, great. I'm my favorite CN is Meteor because she's amazing and sparkly in all the right ways, and I'm just really, really excited to be in the world at all with this. So there you go. Okay, next person.
All right, great. How about Lilith?
Nice to meet you. I'm Lilith, and I'm from the United States, but I live in Tokyo right now. I've been a fan of Takarazuka for about 6 years, and the first show I saw on DVD was Elizabeth, and then I saw Meguriai wa Futatabi second in the Takarazuka Grand Theater, which I fell in love with. And right now I'm in Yuzuki Reon's fan club, and I'm really excited to be working on this podcast to talk to other fans.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, next up, how about Kitty-chan?
Okay, hi, I'm Chan. I'm from the U.S. and also a fairly recent fan. I really got into it maybe 2 semesters ago when I discovered they made an adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, and then my sister made me translate it. But I quickly became very, very obsessed. And I'm also going to be studying abroad next year. So that's going to be lots of fun, and Lola and I are going to get in all kinds of trouble together, I am sure.
We're going to be at the same school, so yes.
convert everyone.
So basically, by next year, 90% of this team will be in Japan.
Yes.
Oh, I
Sounds
guess so.
like it.
It's going to be the best.
Well, that'll help with the
podcast
time
ever.
zone problem.
All right, I guess that leaves me. So I'm Jen, and I have to say I appreciate your pain, Layla. I didn't know about Takarazuka either for the first 2 years I lived in Japan. It wasn't until later that when I went back for my other 4 years that I really got to enjoy it. But yeah, I really love Takarazuka, especially its unique fandom and 100 years of history. Anyway, I hope we all have fun doing this podcast, even though we had a crazy amount of technical difficulties getting started here.
We got the biggest challenge down. We got Skype to work.
Again, I apologize for my people.
Alright, so now it's time for what's making us happy in the world of Takarazuka lately. I guess for me, Jen, my things would have to be this podcast and this picture that's up now of Todoroki Yu dressed as Abraham Lincoln.
Yes. Yes. It's
That was going
glorious.
to be my thing this week.
Yes.
Me too.
For me, I guess the thing that has made me most happy lately has been the announcement that Soragumi is doing Elizabeth. We went to see, me, Lisa, and a couple of other Takarazuka fans went to see Elizabeth in Germany earlier this year. And in intermission, we were talking about how next year is the anniversary of Takarazuka doing Elizabeth and how they would probably do another production. And we were talking who wants to do Elizabeth, and Soragumi was at the top of our list. So I'm really glad that that's going to happen.
I was going to say the Elizabeth announcement, but someone was faster than me.
Sorry.
Thankfully, I came prepared. I do have a list. And because I suspected Elizabeth was going to be taken. So what made me really happy was the addition of Maggie's Dinner Show and the Oedipus soundtrack to iTunes, because I'm all for more love for the new Senka, and it makes me really happy to see that we are getting a part of that at least. Not quite DVDs yet, but music. It's better than waiting, praying to the gods of Sky Stage that you might get to see it.
Do the gods of Sky Stage have like a special shrine in your house?
No, because I'm too angry at them most of the time.
Well, I guess like everybody else, the Elizabeth announcement made me happy, since Elizabeth was the first show I saw when I was introduced to Takarazuka. And also Todoroki Yu dressed as Abraham Lincoln will never, ever cease to make me happy. For something new, I think it was actually the photo I saw recently of Kurenai Yuzuru from the Guys and Dolls rehearsal. And my favorite actress used to be in Hoshigumi before she left Takarazuka, Yuzagi Reon, So I love Benny very much. And she's always making silly faces in her photos,
Yes.
which I love the most. She always makes me smile. And she's making a face and she's wearing a false mustache, which is just the best combination.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
I think we should do that. Like, we should actually wear false mustaches when we do the podcast sometime. Just, get the feel of it.
Call it the facial hair episode and just make fun of the worst facial hair we've yet seen in Takarazuka.
Oh, yes, please.
And we could talk about Tom dressed as Abraham Lincoln again.
Always a good thing. So, the thing that made me really happy this week, sorry that I'm switching accents between Scottish and English. It just happens, sorry. But the thing that made me happy this week was that little video clip of Mizu Todd. And it's like set to the music of like Hello.
Oh,
Spelled
yeah.
Hello. And I can't stop myself. Like every time I watch it, like after it's finished, I just like burst out laughing. It's ridiculous. Love it. It's so great. So that made me really, really happy, at least. Yeah.
All right, you're all going to have to send me links to these things that we're talking about so we can put them up in the blog post so everyone can follow the links and see them.
Oh, definitely. I'll do that, of course.
It'll be supplementary materials. Tom Abraham Lincoln. Mizu Todd, hello. Rehearsal, Benny.
Well, I am getting really excited about the Hoshigumi Disney cover album, and then there was just a photo put up of Michan and Hinamifu with Mickey and Minnie plushies, and it was so cute. And let's see. Also, what was it? Oh, so for my mythology class, I'm doing a report on A-Rex, Adex from 2008, which apparently nobody really liked. But I've finally translated this review of the opening night, and I'm very happy because it was so hard to translate. Oh my goodness.
Congratulations!
Well done.
Yeah. Did anyone like that show? Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I did.
You did? Okay. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it was crazy, and Kiryan had all those dreads, and yeah, I love Masaki, so.
I haven't seen it, so.
It's weird. Like, I'm gonna have to watch it again to do the report.
We'll have to do a show about Greek adaptations or something like that.
Yeah, another one about Shakespeare adaptations.
I think we have to do several about Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how hard the start of this year was for me, because I was teaching a class about Greek theater at university. And with the Oedipus announcement in the background, I was so tempted to just make my class watch Rome at Dawn and see what happened afterwards.
I showed the first 20 minutes of Rome at Dawn to the Japanese class I helped with. It was interesting.
Interesting is a good word.
It was the Ides of March.
The thing is, the students I'm teaching are all history students, and I can already see their faces when they're picturing Romans in pants.
Oh no.
For me, when I taught a Japanese class in university, every Halloween I would play them the clip from Neo Voyage.
Oh my god.
Tani in the Halloween sequence.
Oh god.
Yes.
I think I was the only one who enjoyed doing that, but I did it every year. I made them watch it.
All right, so why don't we move on to our last section for this podcast? And our question that we're going to discuss is, why do you think foreign fans enjoy Takarazuka?
Sure.
That sounds good.
Yep. I can start. I can always start.
Yay!
Okay, so what I think that foreign fans enjoy about Takarazuka, like the first time they see it, because usually if you're a foreign fan, you're already into Japanese, you've seen like anime and manga and stuff, like you want to just see some theater and stuff. And then when you see Zuka, like you are just so impressed with the whole thing, because it's very, very professional. Like everything is well thought out. Like a Zuka show will always be top notch. Even a bad Zuka show is like amazing compared to theater in Sweden, for example. But I mean, a lot of stuff is better than theater in Sweden, of course. But don't tell people you're back. But like, yeah. So Zuka, like even their lowest is really great, and it's so sparkly and so amazing. And I think they also bring out the enthusiasm for it, and you can really see how into this they are and how they live to do what they do. So that's what I think foreign fans see when they go to see Zuka for the first time, and I think that's why so many people love it.
I think it's really interesting that you brought up people who are already really into Japanese culture and things like that, and the theater too. I know a lot of I had some friends who were really into the lighting in theaters and stage production, and just the amazing amount of lighting, sound, and like the rotating stage that all the Grand Theater productions have is pretty amazing in Takarazuka.
I think another attraction to Zuka, besides what Lela says, is you get to follow performers usually from when they're really young and just starting out and kind of awkward, and their voices are not coming out very well. For Otokoyaki, you kind of see them struggling with the right way to walk or right way to speak. You get to see them, how their work influences their performance and how they grow and become better. I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, I find that really inspiring as well, because we know how hard the schedules are, and that at times that they are in rehearsal for crazy times, but then you see the result of it all and the passion with which they continue to do it year after year, and it blows my mind every time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I know any of us who followed young Takarazuka when they're in their practicing for the Shinjin Koen performances. I mean, they go through the regular day performances, and then they're there after that practicing and rehearsing until 10:30, 11:30, 12 at night, and then they have to get up the next morning and do 2 more performances. It's very inspiring and incredible to watch.
Yeah, I think aside from what has been said already, a part of the attraction, especially for musical fans, is that suddenly roles that you might always have liked but never thought you could play seem to be more in reach. Like when you're a fan of American or European musical and you see male roles that might have really cool songs, there's sometimes this hint of disappointment that you could never attempt to sing the song yourself or something like that. And then suddenly there is this option that you have women playing all those roles that you loved before. And they do it in really impressive ways. So I think that might also draw the theater people.
Huh, that's really interesting. I never thought of it like that.
I came to it. Where did I went, because I cycle fandoms. I basically went anime, and then had a really long time where I was into tokusatsu, and then I went to Takarazuka. And weirdly, there actually are a lot of Takarazuka fans who are also tokusatsu fans. I don't know how that happens. But a lot of it is they just put on a lot of musicals, and they film the musicals. And if you want to watch musicals, there aren't a lot of places to get filmed musicals. Like, I'm a giant Scarlet Pimpernel fan, and not only does Takarazuka have the only filmed version, it's quite a large improvement on the Broadway version.
Yeah,
because I've seen that one. I saw it. I mean, I saw a local production a long time ago, and I saw it multiple times. And yeah, the Takarazuka version is an improvement. Almost all of their adaptations, they do improve on. Elizabeth, you can debate, but Romeo and Juliet has some definite improvements, mostly in the lyrics. Le Roi Soleil, I'm so sorry to the entire nation of France. Tayo with Chie. that was improved. Like, Benny as Philippe, way better than whatever French dude was doing it. No contest.
So that's really interesting that you bring that up. Do you think in general the foreign fans enjoy adaptations of Western musicals more? Because it seems like those are the ones everybody really enjoys, and Western, or I should say English-speaking fans, don't really enjoy the original Japanese Takarazuka musicals as much.
No, there's a lot of original ones I love.
Yeah, me too.
But I think the Broadway and French Austrian adaptations are really like gateway ones. Just because you know it already. So if your Japanese is kind of rough, you can follow it anyway.
How Lisa and I got into Takarazuka was literally that we were talking about Elizabeth, and then we were like, hey, there's a Japanese version. Let's look it up on YouTube. Wow, this is really cool.
And then Yukigumi 2007 happened, and it was all down the
I
drain.
will never look back.
Yeah, I have to admit, my first musical that really got me into Takarazuka was Shibuki Jun-san's Guys and Dolls, so...
I still have not seen it.
Oh, it's amazing. It's so much fun.
And to be fair, Takarazuka is also rather obscure, so you will have to find it first before you can try to get into it. And the fact that they are doing Western musicals just makes it so much easier to find them.
Yeah. Especially, I think the largest gateway ones are Elizabeth and RJ.
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet. Scarlet Pimpernel to a small extent, but mostly Elizabeth and Romeo and Juliet.
I think Phantom also comes up a lot as a gateway one because people try to look up the Weber Phantom of the Opera, and they get the Maury Yeston one, which I like a lot better than the Weber one. But
I actually haven't seen the Weber one.
Unpopular opinion, I hate the Weber Phantom of the Opera musical, making me unique in the annals of history, apparently.
I really like Phantom. It's really good.
Yeah, I feel like among Broadway fans, or at least the serious Broadway fans, it seems like anything by Lloyd Webber is not considered a really good musical. I don't know. I like it, but that's just me.
Well, Wildhorn gets that so much. It's why he doesn't do Broadway anymore.
All right. Well, how about you, Lilith? You haven't really had a chance to weigh in on the question.
Sure. Well, this is a tough question for me because living in Japan, a lot of Japanese women ask me, why do you like Takarazuka? And I have to sit there and think, why do I like Takarazuka? And just thinking back, I was introduced to it by some friends in college who showed me the 2002 Elizabeth with Osa Harunasu. And I love musicals, so I remember watching this DVD, and the opening number is like really, well, you know, Elizabeth, it gets you really excited. It's building up, it's building up.
Yep.
And then Osa appeared on stage, and I just remember thinking, she's so cool. And that was it. that was what did it. And then when I saw my first live show in Takarazuka, it was Chie's show. And I think one of the things that helps with Takarazuka is that if there's somebody you like there, you feel much closer to them than you do in other types of theater. Mm-hmm. With the way the Takarazuka theater is built, they have the silver bridge that wraps around the orchestra pit. And I think that helps dissolve the wall in between the stage and the audience. Yeah. So you feel much closer to the Siens than you would do the actors in more traditional musicals or theater.
And sometimes they jump down in front, and everyone just dies in the front row.
Yeah. Well, that was actually the first show that I saw was, the review was Étoile de Takarazuka. And in part of that show, Chie comes down into the audience, and she was high-fiving the audience members. And I tell this story every time I can get people to listen to it, so I'm going to tell it again. Sorry. I know Kitty's heard it before many times. But she was high-fiving the people in the front row, and she had to turn around and go back on stage for her cue because everybody was going to come onto the bridge. If she was late, she wouldn't be able to get up the stairs. So she turns around to go back on stage, and there's one woman on the end of the center front block who she missed. She didn't high-five this woman. And seeing that, you could see the woman start to put her hands down kind of sadly, like, oh, okay, I missed it. That's too bad. I didn't get to high-five Chie. And halfway back to the stage, Chie turned around and sees this woman and sprints all the way back to her to high-five her.
Oh, wow.
And then sprints all the way back to the stairs to make it onto stage on time.
Oh, she's so precious. Oh, my God.
I love her. She's so sweet.
I have to add to your story and say, I remember when Chie was still really young. She was, I guess it was her Scarlet Pimpernel Ochakai or Tea Party. And she, at the time, people were talking about, like, the Japanese fans were saying, well, her fan club is so small. I don't know if she's ever going to really make top star. But I went to her Ochakai, and she was just so sweet with all her fans, and she really had that that charisma that otokoyaku really need to have to get lots of fans. So I knew there was nothing to worry about for her.
By that point, I was already a fan, but that was definitely the deal breaker moment when I went home and immediately started writing her a fan letter. Oh my God, I saw you do this. It was so sweet. It made me so happy. I wasn't even the one getting high-fived, but I was so happy.
Yeah, everyone has said their kind of entry story into Takarazuka fandom. I was flailing about Conchita Wurst, and then my friend was like, oh, if you like Conchita, you might like this thing. And then he just spammed me with lots of videos. And
you went from Conchita Wurst to Takarazuka.
I was like, oh, she's so fabulous, she's so sparkly. And he was like, if you like sparkles, you are going to like this. So
yes, it does provide the sparkles.
We totally need to add a picture of Conchita Wurst for anyone who has missed the glory that is the Eurovision Song Contest. I have to say to the story you just told, Jen, the mere thought that Chie, of all people, had a small fan club. The mind, it boggles.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It was probably, 2010? Yeah.
No, it's 2008. 2008. Yeah. Because 2010 was the Tsukigumi Scarlet Pimpernel.
Yes, favorite.
I do like that. The Hoshigumi Scarlet Pimpernel is another one that's one of my absolute favorites. Where every time I do a live stream, that one is the first one usually that I show.
Noticed.
Well, it's a joke actually. Lynn has that show on DVD, and every time I do a live stream, she logs on and goes, Lilith, I own this show on DVD, but I've never watched it because you keep live streaming it, so I've never had to open it yet.
All right, I guess to sum up the end of the episode, does anybody have any final thoughts that they'd like to add?
Watch more Zaga.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I hope we can do more.
I wonder if anyone else is going to enjoy listening to it, because we're just like, oh my god, fangirling and laughing at each other, and then everyone else is going to be like, oh my god, you guys. Oh,
Well, I
enjoy
can fangirl more if you need me to. This is not even close.
It was toned down. I was trying to use the full names for the CNs, thinking, oh, what if somebody who's trying to get into the fandom doesn't know all the nicknames yet?
I thought of them too late, and when I caught you saying "Osa haru no sumire," I went, "Oh, right. Maybe I should have used the real names."
Well, we can put like a glossary with the episodes if we have to, because I can't get even close to remembering all of them, even when I like them and use the nicknames sometimes.
We could probably take questions, like if someone has a question, they can email someone or...
Yes, there's definitely going to be a blog for the podcast, and we can definitely take comments, questions there, as well as there should be emails available as well.
Yes,
Sounds good.
Sounds
Yay!
All right, well, that's all for our first podcast. Let us know on our blog what you think of it, and any questions, comments, concerns. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks.